Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is John with Tommy's Top Picks here to bring you a weekly market update. I have to apologize. I made a mistake when scheduling the release of the 2.0 market news update. It was supposed to go out on Tuesday or Wednesday. Somehow I ended up doing it on Thursday and it messed up when this was going to come out. So you should be listening to this Friday morning, I hope, if I don't screw it up again. So I apologize, it's being a little late. I am recording it Thursday afternoon, so the data should be Thursday relevant. So it's still in keeping with our weekly data pools. So hopefully that doesn't mess anything up or change anything for anyone. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump in. Interesting market this week. I can say our proposal that did this lead the market is going to be a big fat no, because markets may have had some volatility. General markets, this is what this was concerning with, had some volatility the following week, over this last week, but they did not dump in the same manner that I would have expected. In fact, as of right now, crypto is above where it has been for a while, about 4% up from the bottom, give or take, maybe not quite the bottom. So generally speaking, no, it did not do the same thing it did here, which of course this was somewhat of a joke and we kind of knew. Cardboard doesn't lead all markets, although again, I still think that would have been hilarious if it was. So let's jump in. WTR unlimited boxes have pumped 7.4%, up at $54. Ooh, very low still at that pump. Maybe we hit our bottom here. This is one of those volatility Vs we like to see, or we see very often. So, I think it's fine. ARC, on the other hand, unlimited boxes actually continued its slide down. So this is 7.25%, pretty significant drop. Might be a good time to start looking at ARC boxes. They were pumped, if you recall. ARC was one of the few unlimited boxes that got a supply, shortage pump over the past year or so, maybe even 6 months, and was all the way up at like $90 a box. So it's the only thing that's made it that high. It's now coming down to within crew range. It seems like it's a more reasonable, and I believe crew is pretty low on unlimited box supply. So crew technically should be higher. I don't recall. I'd have to double check on the supply list. But point being that these three should be in close parity. Not too far off one way or the other. I know there was extra waves of this because of that WTR event. ARC did seem to be the hardest to get a hold of for the longest time. Crew being able to support all classes, all these things take into consideration. There should be some general parity or closeness between the three of them, and now we're kind of getting there. So we'll see what happens over the next few weeks, but I think ultimately unlimited boxes of the first three sets will be close in price for the long run. Until things run out. Then they'll hop up as things run out, and that's just how it will be, because I don't think we'll ever see those reprinted in the future with history packs out and all that stuff. So moving on, nothing else actually in unlimited is really of any interest, just noise and barely moving. Slight modification to that statement would be Monarch unlimited cases, 4% increase, not quite hitting my mark to market on the heat map, but it's it popped up a little bit. I'm not too interested in it, honestly, because we're at 238 here, 235 a little down, 245 a little back up. This is basically a straight line, with a little bit of jaggedness in it, as we'll see in the charts. Not too noteworthy, we'll say. First edition ARC down 1450, 5% down, lowest it's been in a while, or actually maybe ever in my history, but definitely maybe ever, actually, now that I think about it. First edition ARC, 1450 is a heck of a price. Still keep an eye on that. Still going to watch this slide continue. It's been a nice slow slide, which is good. This is the first one that hit the heat map. So that means it's kind of like that final decline bit. We shall see if that is the final decline. Like I said, I like to go on the upswing because that's where it feels like we found the bottom. Haven't seen that yet, so we'll keep an eye on that one going forward. Crew 499, also down 10%. This seems pretty significant. Again, months and months of slides, a little bit up and down here, 30, 45. 499. So seems like it's fallen off a cliff a little bit. On the other side of things, Tales of Aria and Everfest are both up significant amounts, 5.4 for Aria and 18.8 for Everfest. That is a strange jump. I do not know why that happened or what is in Everfest that has people excited. Maybe there's some sort of synergy with some of the cards that are in play, and that's what's driving those things up. Obviously, Tales of Aria has icy stuff, so that might be part of it. Icelander does seem to be very popular coming into this new set, new meta. So we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out in the charts and in the individual cards. First edition cases, I want to note, so we're down on ARC another $1,000 down to 8,000. It is again Salty Whale, the same person who had it for 9, and I'm fairly sure the same person that had it for 18.9, or maybe the 12. It was the 12 initially. So with those two factors in mind, it's one person testing the lower bound of the market. Honestly, if I were Salty Whale, I'd go on Discord or somewhere else, because even if this was $5,000 a box, right, or something like just crazy low, I don't know that I could bring myself to buy it, right? Because you're talking about a major transaction through TCG Player. You're paying a bit of a premium because of the taxes and all the other stuff that's going on instead of a direct sale. I mean, it just seems tough to justify spending that kind of money through a site like TCG Player. Not that it's less trustworthy than, say, paying through Facebook or something. Actually, I think it's the opposite. It's more trustworthy. It's just that kind of transaction typically doesn't happen there. And so I don't know who's going to spend that money through there to get that box, and that they'll feel like they are in a safe situation to do so. I mean, that's really what it boils down to, and I just don't know how that looks and how that works. So I think Salty Whale would have to basically offer a discount at this point to see, so 1450 times 4 basically, to see this actually sell on there, because you're still looking at what, $6,000 a transaction, which is a lot. I think you're going to have a hard time selling something that premium on TCG Player. It's just not a place that I see that many big transactions on. I could be wrong. I don't know everything, and this isn't financial advice or market advice. I just look at the data and report it. But this is one of those things where it's like, I'm not sure what price actually gets this to move. And she is clearly testing it, right? Going down to 9, 8, next week might be 7. So I expect this to continue to fall. I don't see this as the real value any more than I see this as the real value. I'm not sure, unless it sells. If it sells, then we'll have a number, right? We'll be like, okay, that's what it takes to sell it on TCG Player, right? That will give us some real serious data. I just don't see it happening at any price that someone would want to let go of it for, right? It'd have to be at like a crazy discount to get people to do it. That's what it would be for me. I'm not going to spend $8,000. I wouldn't even spend $5,000 through TCG Player. I just don't think it's the right way to do it. You can get better deals elsewhere. It just doesn't seem like the right move, because they're paying 30% on this, right? So this price has essentially got to be 30% over what they're actually willing to get, because TCG Player charges like 30% per transaction, something like that. I'm not sure the exact percentage off the top of my head, but it's significant. So it's just like, you're overpaying by default, and that doesn't matter when it's a $20 card or dollar card. It does when it's an $8,000 box, right? So that's why people don't transact that way on here. So I just don't know that will ever happen. Anyways, enough on that. We've talked about that a million times. 6.8% down on Crew first edition cases. That's getting real spicy at 2,200 a case. That looks good. We'll see if it continues to decline. Again, we've been on a downtrend for a while. Pretty slow and flat, a little drop off. So we have a couple of those here. This ARC single box and the Crew box, they seem to be moving a little bit in parity. You see how it's like slow decline and drop off. Same thing, same weeks too. Slow decline and drop off. So I'm intrigued to see how those stay together over the course. I might have to make a super chart that compares all the boxes in first and all the cases in first. So we can see if there are, price parities, like for every case of this, you can afford a box of that. You know what I mean? It's very common in this kind of market. So I'd be curious to see if there is some sort of parity there. Anyways, so next thing is Tales of Aria is down 12%, 12.5%. Didn't we just say the boxes are up? Yeah, so this is closing the gap for the premium. We'll see in the charts how close it is, but we might be getting to an arbitrage opportunity. Again, not the best opportunities. I've yet to see one that's like actually going to make you any money. So I don't take it as a big thing, just a sign of like where the premium is, how much people are worthy, how much of it is investment style, like views cases as a premium versus how much of it is a just a pure bulk thing, because it's inverse in the card world, right? Usually when you buy in bulk, you get a discount on the unit. That's just the world. That's macroeconomics, or actually that's not even macro, that's microeconomics, right? Supply and demand and economies of scale, right? That's just a thing. So the more you produce, the cheaper it is to produce the individual item, the cheaper typically it is to buy. And when you buy in bulk, you get a bigger discount because it's more capital up front. Just basic economics. What it boils down to in cardboard, and this is one of the things that got me interested in this, is that when you do bulk in cardboard, it isn't that. It's the opposite. You get the gambler's premium or the rarity premium, and the cases are worth more than the sum of the boxes. Does that make sense? That's what you usually see. So if that were to invert, it would put us in a very consumer-like place where it's really just a consumer product and the gambling collecting part is gone. It's one of the reasons I know collectors aren't gone, is because this is inverse to the relationship of actual purchases. When you buy from a distributor, I guarantee you they don't charge you more for buying more. So clearly, why is that the case at the consumer level? It's because people put a premium on it because of the gambler component. So one of those things to keep an eye on. If we ever do invert permanently, then we'll be in a situation where it's clear that the collectors are fully out of fab forever and not interested in collecting it. So just a thing. Let's jump over to our TCG player here. Take a look. Make sure this is still in frame. Yep. Okay. So what do we have here? $79. This is now lower than it was before. I think it actually bounced back. I think it got down to 78. But let's take a look. We got 143 Storm Striders. Obviously, Icelander's popular. Ninja's popular. I believe this is a Ninja card, maybe an Icelander card too. Very good in those decks. Flame Scale Furnace, also Ninja. I think this is actually better in Dramai, but maybe Ninja players are using it too. Crown, oops, let me scroll down. Crown of Provenance, obviously, used with both the Draconic, but probably with everyone else too. This could also be collectors, because this is going to be a bit of a collector piece, although this is talking about the Rainbow Foil one. I've been doing a little deep dives into the cold foil here and there. They are holding up pretty well. Still on the decline. First week out, you know. That's just how it goes. Coronet Peak is definitely down, but still popular. Interesting to see Ranger. Lexi does look good into the meta. We had a couple, or at least a win with Nationals, Road to Nationals, sorry, on Lexi. So I think she's going to be played pretty heavily by those that know her and understand her. And then, of course, Erase Face, Alluvian Constellas. So interesting. So these are the popular cards. Just looking at the top ones, it tells us nothing about the meta. It tells us everyone wants to play the new characters, doesn't it? Yeah, so very popular cards, and they cut across multiple classes. Very interesting. New meta, not much to say from it other than it's interesting to keep an eye on this list and how it plays out and what the obvious cards are that are popular and which ones aren't. All right, back to the thing. Let's go to the charts. I did have some news items, but I shared those in the 2.0 news market update, so check that out. There should be a link at the end here, or maybe in the list. It's under box openings if you used a playlist. Hopefully that's an interesting take. If you like it, you know, leave me a comment there. Give it a thumbs up. Let me know. Different take, obviously, than this and the data centric, but you know, it's interesting. And I think analyzing and looking at 2.0 in general will be a fun little mini series, if you will. All right, so going through Unlimited. WTR falling off, like we said, flat as a rock, then just keep declining. Now you'll notice it's slowing its decline, so we're starting to get to that point where it's like, ooh, this is interesting. When it flattens out or goes up, kicks up at the end here, that's what I'm looking for in my typical buy scenario. I won't be doing that with WTR Unlimited just because it's WTR Unlimited. I have plenty of it. I don't need it. That would just be my new set, kind of eyeballing where I want to collect and shelf things. Boxes, we are, like I said, the approaching parity on the box divided by 4. So arbitrage opportunity incoming potentially. Again, we haven't seen that actually go off ever in any successful way, so not that critical to think about. ARC, interesting, saw that kick up. I think we talked about this last week. Is this going to continue up? Did we find the bottom, or is it going to go back down? And it went back down. I think this is just general market pressures. We're seeing it down here as well. Downward pressure in general is just hitting everything. So I'm not too worried about it, but it is interesting to watch how these price dynamics. Crew is always the most ridiculous data on Unlimited. You'll notice the premium is increasing here, again, on Unlimited. Monarch maybe found its bottom. Let's check back next week. Does this drop back down? You'll note we had up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down volatility until we got to this point, and it was down, slower down than up. That doesn't mean it's not going to continue on this downward trend. It very well could. It could be one of these up and then back down like that. In this market, I would expect it to, just because everything's kind of got a downward pressure on it right now. And unless there's a reason to want to collect it, like footsteps or something of that nature, there's no reason to expect it to reverse course and go up at this point, especially with other things that are rare, also seeing the downward pressure. Now, if those start going up and then then you can start kind of expecting other things of less value to go up afterwards. That does happen. And that will be interesting to analyze over the long term. But for now, I see no reason to expect it to be like, oh, this is the bottom. We're going up, straight up from here. Just straight up. That's how we go. It's not happening. No free attendees, guys. No free attendees. Sorry. Pretty much the same trend. It is interesting to note, like, the variances here have gotten wider. So we're actually looking at a higher VIX or, volatility in the market right now. So it did slow down for this last week, but that doesn't mean much because, like, we had this and could drop, do the same pattern over here. But the fact that, generally speaking, the volatility is higher going forward is very interesting. It may also, at some point, afford us a good arbitrage opportunity because high volatility leads to those very temporarily, obviously. We never got it here, but some crazy jerk in the market of one of the two, the boxes or the cases, could end up giving us a short-term opportunity with that. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, you might want to pay attention. Tales of Aria down, found a flat floor here. We'll see if it lasts. I doubt it, especially with everything else going on, but it will be interesting to see if it kicks back up a little bit or anything else happens in the short term. Tales of Aria boxes, same, just finding its floor, finding its bottom, no big deal. And then there's no uprising in Unlimited, right? Oh, right, Everfest. Oh, right, there's no Everfest in Unlimited either. Haha, both of those have none. Ooh, that's something. Leave a comment if you think I should just dump Unlimited altogether. I don't think so, because a lot of people are interested in this stuff, but I don't know, because this is going to continually be less and less relevant as the sets go on. Maybe not yet, but maybe in the future. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. WTR cases, super boring. WTR boxes, look at that slow decline. Look at that. Just keep going down nice and slow. Nice and slow. I want to see it. I want to see it get to 3,000. 2,900. It'll be hard to pass up when it gets to those levels. Nice and slow, so no one even notices. Going to ARC. This is that decline that we just saw. Nothing crazy, like I said. Can't trust much of this data. Let's go down to boxes. Very interesting. Yeah, look at that nice slow decline. We're at 1450. Oof. Hard to pass up on that. Maybe I'm anchored because my mind, ARC is $2,000 a box. Maybe ARC's only $1,000 a box, right? Maybe it is. Maybe it is. We'll see in a few months. Let's see if it gets down there. I'll keep watching it. That's for sure. Nothing wrong with watching, being patient. Capital can be patient. That's how you make the money. All right. Downward decline on Crew. This is actually pretty stable compared to the Unlimited that's all over the place. So there's a general downtrend, 2200 for the first edition cases, like we were talking about. It's getting pretty attractive. I want to go look back at some of the historic values on this in the print run, because this should reflect a known print number, because it is a third as many, I think, as Monarch, and what was it, twice as many or three times? No, I think it was twice as many. No, maybe it's 3 times as many as Arc. I want to go back and look at that data, because that should give us some pretty strong guidance on what this should be. If this is that, then this would be that, right? If Arc is 3 times as rare, then a third of the value price-wise makes sense to a degree. Obviously, taking cards into consideration, EV, etc. Very stable downward trend, very stable premium. This just looks like a healthy box in a down market, right? That's just what this is, right? Monarch, we have our cliff. That's the print release data finally hitting the market, I guess. And then we've stabilized down here. We dropped $1, which is kind of funny. On the boxes and per case, we had a lot of volatility over here, but now we're looking at that. It looks like we're stabilizing the premium. Keep an eye on this, especially if something happens in the market that shakes up the news. I can't imagine anything in particular. The biggest thing was Phantasmal Footsteps shaking up the news and people wanting that, and I think we got what we were going to get out of that. I don't think there's anything, unless Dromai is just like baller and like wins all the nationals and needs, you have to have the footsteps to do it, which I can't see that happening. But if we get to the first nationals and all this stuff and Dromai's just wrecking it, which, to be fair, Dromai has won, I think, 3 or 4 of the Road to Nationals, like about half of them. So she seems to be pretty competitive. I don't know if that's just because she's new and people don't know how to deal with her, or if it's because she really is just really, really good. But if that were to be the case and the footsteps are critical, you can expect these prices to adjust based on that. That's the interesting part about being a player's market. Actual gameplay and winners change the way things are looked at in the market, so which is great, because it allows us to speculate and find good price points to enter and exit. Nothing very interesting in Tales of Aria, falling off a cliff still. This is a pretty dramatic drop. If you remember last week, we were like, oh, it's like a straight line. Well, now it's not. Now it's not a straight line. It fell off pretty hard, so that's pretty interesting. And then our premium dove like crazy. Interestingly, the boxes went up. I don't think this will continue exactly in this pattern, but imagine if it did. We should cross over and have ourselves a nice ARB opportunity within the next week. I doubt that will happen, but it's worth noting, worth keeping an eye on in case you're interested in trying to do that. Actually, you know what it might be? Well, no, never mind. Anyways, Everfest. Slow decline since the kind of release hype straight line-ish thing that we had here. I'm not sure what that spike is, but I call that noise in the data. Just been downward trend since, a little kick up, more downward trend. This is probably on Uprising News, I'm guessing. Something on maybe what was in there might be good in there. Not sure on that. Let's look at the box. So we're approaching an arbitrage opportunity with Everfest. That'll be interesting if that actually does happen. I'll be curious to see if that gets corrected. Yeah, this is pretty crazy. So we got a 2.8% decline on the cases, but an 18-point jump on the boxes. Why did that jump from 56 to 69? That's crazy sauce. Anyone have any hints on that? What is going on that people wanted boxes of Everfest all of a sudden? New players maybe? It's the latest all classes are included box, cheap one. That could be. I have been seeing a lot of posts about, hey, I'm a new player, what should I buy? And one of the things I would suggest is Everfest is a good buy, right? Because it's cheap and it covers all the classes, right? And it has powerful cards. Yeah, maybe that's it. I don't know. That's interesting. Uprising. So 2.0 release, how it goes. Straight down. Well, not straight down. Down and to the right. And then down and to the right until it hits map. And then we should see a flat line here. And this premium's going to get all wonky for a while, even though there is map tying it there. It may actually just flatline with the number at utter map until that scarcity, forced scarcity goes away. And then if that's the case, then what we see is map holding a price up artificially means the second it's gone, the price will tank, because you want markets to react to price actuality. Without it, people can't move product off their shelves. Like, there's some real world implications. So map may actually become harmful in a 2.0 environment. I'm not sure how you deal with that as LSS. I'm not, an expert on that stuff, but it's an interesting thing to think about, that map during a down market in the general economy and having continual releases of multiple products that stores have to take into consideration could end up hurting the product, making a very big volatility moment post map. So it might be worth looking. I think it's 180 days map lasts. At that 180 day mark from release, which I guess is the first, so is that September 30th or so, October 1st, give or take, we might see a massive drop. And I don't think you can short cardboard, but if you could, that would be a good time to do it. What you might want to do, though, is pick up some of it, some unopened cases and boxes of Uprising on, say, October 1st, that week. Let's keep an eye on it. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how 2.0 goes. Obviously, there's a lot of factors between now and then that could come into play, but assuming a down economy, artificial barrier to decline in prices tends to be a volatility creator, and that is something you can take advantage of as someone who's a participant in a market. Not financial advice, obviously, but could be fun. I will keep an eye on it. I did not buy an excessive amount of Uprising, so I will feel very good about buying it at that point. And that might tell us a little bit about post 2.0 best speculative purchase periods. You know how I talk about the magic post-release J-curve thing? There might be a 2.0/fab/map thing where it's like 180 days out, you get a drop, and that's your buy point. Let's see. Let's follow the data. Like always, that's what I prefer to do. Very interesting to see. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the content. If you do, leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Thank you so much for everyone who's been subscribing. It has definitely helped our ratio. I think we're at 40% subscribed, 60 unsubscribed now, which is way better than it was before, so I really do appreciate that. So anyways, I hope you guys are having a good day, cracking packs, enjoying the game. I'm going to my first draft tonight. Very excited about that. I'm sure Tommy and I will have much to say about that in the next podcast. So I hope you guys are having a good one, and I'll see you next time.